Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, and today I want to pull up the chair for this new Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion regarding Chapter 12, and I want to talk to you guys about why we need to have a serious conversation about how much on a scale from 1 to 10, Kawaki is absolutely screwed right now after the ending of the last manga chapter. And for this video, we're going to be looking at more than just the threat of Jura, because there are a couple more things that are brewing in the background in terms of conflict for Kawaki that have a serious chance at being something huge that changes the entire narrative moving forward for Kawaki's character in a way that puts him on the inevitable collision course to the moment where we see he and Boruto battling over the ruins of what's left in Konoha, where as of right now, in this moment, we don't know who survived this mysterious attack, if anyone survived, or what led to the attack itself, which is why in today's newest Naruto Explain video, we're gonna have a tough conversation about Kawaki's character, in particular the dangers that he faces in the future of the story, as well as the present dangers that he's facing. Now, just to be clear, I am 100% still holding on to those Kawaki stocks. I'm going to keep buying the dip on Kawaki because I still think there's something long game planned for his character, the same way I kept preaching back in 2021 when everyone was whining about the pacing of the Code of Salt arc and the early Omnipotence arc until the final 4 chapters of the remainder of part 1. And I kept saying, hey, monthly manga, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. Something's bubbling, something is coming. I've been reading monthly manga a lot longer than a lot of you guys. Boruto's a lot of you guys' first monthly manga. And then the light bulb went off in everyone's heads and they're like, oh my God, things are heating up right now. And we're getting the twists and the turns and the subversion of our expectations each chapter. For the most part, I said back then, hey, this is just Search of Tsunade arc. It's going to be slower pace, but it's laying the groundwork for the next 2 arcs of the manga, just as the Search of Tsunade arc set up the Sasuke retrieval arc, the Kazekage rescue arc, the Tenchi bridge arc, the Jiraiya the Gallant arc, the Fated Brothers arc, and the Pain of Salt arc. We literally had the next 1/3 of Naruto's manga being set up off the framework of that one arc alone, which reading that weekly was an absolute chore because it was slow, and the anime is like 15 or 16 episodes. You get through it a lot faster in the anime than you did reading it weekly, where you only had to take the foot off the gas of Tenchi bridge arc do some retooling, and even then some of the plot points, they literally are sprouts from the Search of Tsunade arc. So the reason that I bring that up and say this is that Kawaki's character right now, he's being treated in a similar position. We've been seeing how he went from coming into the time skip with high expectations. He was one of the strongest characters at the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations to right now he is still one of the strongest characters, but the gap between himself and people like Jura and Boruto and Damon and Momoshiki controlling Boruto's body is so high that it just feels like this guy, he might be 2 to 3 tiers below the people he's trying to fight. And it's all been intentional, and it's been for a methodical reason. He's gotten way too relaxed and too complacent with his power level and his mastery of his Kokugan, evident by Mitsuki being able to get him off guard. A few years ago in the timeline, that never would have happened. He's lost some of his combat situational awareness, evident by how the claw grind with the Rinnegan was able to tag him off guard and shove his face into the ground. He was treated like an afterthought when Jura battled him, telling him basically, you're not even worth my time eating right now, I'll deal with you later, which given that Jura was solely focused on consuming Himawari, and earlier in the story he says that Boruto's the Otsutsuki he wants to feast on. What Jura was basically saying here is like, hey, I can kill you at any time, so if you're smart, don't annoy me any further because I can make any time right now. Boruto not only dodged his attacks while off guard, attacks that appear instantaneously, but he also speed blitzed Kawaki before he could even think about picking the booger in his nose, let alone defend himself, and he punched Kawaki so hard that Kawaki set up, and his immediate reaction was, I need to use the Karma Seal right now in order to level the playing field, which is scary given Boruto was clearly holding back at that point in the story. Now you have Jura preparing to unleash on the masses down below because he's retrieved Hidari's Thorn Soul and he's made it up in his mind that he's not only going to kill Boruto, but he's going to feast on Kawaki to harvest a chakra fruit, because Kawaki's body will do. Given how much higher over Kawaki that Boruto currently scales, it makes complete sense that if you give someone who is holding Kawaki stocks like me the option to sell, you're probably running scared right now and you're panic selling, and you have really good reason. He stood no chance. Jura, once he sees Kawaki has ninja tech that can give him accelerated regen, is going to shoot off so many Biju Dama at Kawaki that somewhere Code is just gonna sit back, crack open a bottle of beer, and say shoot him again while he watches with glee. However, that's just the surface level problem that Kawaki has. Let's say a miracle happens and somehow Jura is forced to retreat, or he's even defeated by some divine intervention. Say Lady Tenten comes down from the heavens with the shinobi gauntlet, with the infinity gauntlet and the lantern rings, and she just destroys Jura for everyone. He's got the issue to worry about, which is exactly what Damon told him. The moment that the Shinju show up in this village, people are going to start looking at you funny, and there are going to be questions asked that are going to lead to you getting exposed. Ever since these Shinju showed up, is people going, why does Himawari have the Nine Tails? Which is understandable, Kurama's supposed to be dead. But there are also people going, wait, why are these Shinju under the belief that the 7th Hokage, someone that we were told was killed by Boruto, is still alive? People saying, hey, this math ain't mathing. Those questions, they ain't going away anytime soon. It's important to remember exactly what Omnipotence is and what it does and what it does not apply to. It does apply to the memories that people have of Boruto and Kawaki being reversed, but what it doesn't apply to is the lie, well, to be blunt, the several lies that Kawaki told after Omnipotence was casted. They think Kawaki is Naruto's son because that is what their memories are telling them. However, they think Boruto killed Naruto because that is what Kawaki told them, because he knew they thought he was Naruto's son. So he used all that goodwill that he had as that title of being the Hokage's child, and Ada being strong-armed into going along with it to confirm everything he's saying by saying she saw it with her Sharingan, despite how sick she said it made her. And he convinced people that Boruto murdered the Hokage and his wife because that is what he wanted people to believe. Omnipotence has no bearing on if people believe that, in that if you provide them with proof that Boruto did not kill Naruto and Hinata, there is no Omnipotence telling them to ignore it. Omnipotence was never casted for that reason. The most you would have is Omnipotence urging people to believe Kawaki because their memory is that Kawaki is Naruto's son. They will be believing based off of a memory they have of who Kawaki is, not because Omnipotence is saying, hey, yeah, Boruto killed Naruto. That's not what Omnipotence was casted for. That's why we've seen people like Shikamaru, when he's able to put the pieces together, begin to question all of that information, which ultimately led to him questioning everything before his conversation with Boruto. His charade as Naruto's son, it is mostly safe right now, in the sense that Momoshiki can literally take over Boruto's body right now, tell everyone his name is Momoshiki Otsutsuki, pull out a Otsutsuki birth certificate, pull out a certificate of vessel authority over Boruto's body. It could have Boruto Uzumaki written on the paper and nobody would question it, because as we get told in chapter 1 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, people at first, they question and they sense there is a paradox going on, because they're going, why does Naruto's son have the body of a cyborg with ninja tech that came directly from Amado Akar? That don't make no sense. Why does Naruto's son not have Momoshiki's chakra inside of him anymore? That don't make any sense. Why does Naruto's son have Ishiki's chakra, his dojutsu, and his abilities? That don't make any sense. And it's because the effects of Omnipotence just made them accept the irregularities that were caused by the paradox, and they just moved on. Throwing that out there because I've seen over the last few weeks there are a lot of people still confused about how Omnipotence works. However, now that Boruto has come back, you have things such as Boruto performing ninjutsu in front of Konohamaru, almost not being able to stop himself from calling Konohamaru master when they spoke. In fact, calling him master more than once, and even using the Rasengan multiple times in the fight that Konohamaru witnessed. That's enough to have someone like Konohamaru, someone like Nishi, begin to ask the questions about Boruto. that Sasuke did once he had time to look over the information, and he saw the scar on his face and the headband he possessed and mull over Sarada's words before he came to the conclusion, hey, I can't trust my own memories right now. And so Sasuke began to actively ignore his memories and instincts. Knowing the truth does not reverse the fact that his memories have been altered. The same thing applies here. That's the one thing that Kawaki can't afford to happen. It is a domino effect. Amato's already showed us that there are people who they can look at the signs and use logic to deduce their memories have been altered. Amato just didn't expose them because it's not in his best interest. Amato always does what is best for Amato. We've seen characters watch Boruto fight coming across like the very thing that so many people had high hopes of Boruto before Omnipotence, which was that he'll be the future second coming of the fourth Hokage. When Kawaki fights Jura, let's say that Jura's toying around with Kawaki and we see the unrefined nature of Kawaki's battle techniques, the lack of offense that is associated with the son of Naruto, and the outright aggressive and ruthless nature of his attacks versus the softer fighting style that Boruto was remembered by people as having when he used one level of force that was higher in order to subdue and make killing a last option, which granted this Boruto now is having to kill quite a bit because of the circumstances of self-defense. Kawaki is in danger of doing the very thing that Damon warned him of, which is exposing himself to the entire world itself. The battle with Jura, in my opinion, is just one more of the floodgates that are being opened up that are letting the waters into the hole that Kawaki finds himself in, and instead of trying to climb out of that hole, he is ignorantly digging down deeper and deeper into the hole, thinking he can just escape the water that is coming that way. And right now, time is running out. He is a ticking time bomb. He is getting desperate. He is going to wake up to the truth that there are more people like Shikamaru who are putting the pieces together, and it's because Sarada has spent the last 3 years running her mouth telling everybody, hey, Kawaki is a fraud. And even though Omnipotence made everyone ignore her words, the groundwork is still set for them to do the very thing that Ada explains to us in chapter 1 that a lot of fans have forgotten, which is you can't tell people their memories are altered because Omnipotence, it will never allow them to accept it, and they'll just think, hey, this person is crazy. I don't think enough fans truly appreciate how broken Omnipotence is. Go back to Sasuke for a second. He saw the scar on Boruto's face. He saw his headband. He knew the kid could do a Rasengan. He had Boruto tell him what happened. He had Ada sit there and admit everything that took place and say, yeah, your memory's been altered. And he's still sitting there going, yeah, but you know, in my mind, if you're truly Naruto's son, he didn't say you are Naruto's son. He said, if you are truly, giving himself some wiggle room, saying I might be making a grave mistake. Like, Omnipotence is that broken. To this day, I still do not see how people downplay how severely broken this is. Even when you know the truth, you still have to actively suppress the urge to believe your memories. It does not work like a genjutsu. Like, Kawaki is so lucky right now, it is crazy. Omnipotence, if they were like, say, Hall of Fame basketball players, Omnipotence is like the guy that leads assists in NBA history, throwing alley-oops and behind the back passes to Kawaki in order to keep this lie going. He has the perfect storm, which is why him fumbling and being in the position right now to fumble makes all of this so bittersweet. There are no easy ways to fumble having the advantage of Omnipotence, but it does have a weakness. And it's what Sarada has unintentionally done for the last 3 years. It's drop breadcrumbs which make people pick them up and follow them in order to get to a proper conclusion. And when that happens, Kawaki is in for a world of hurt, and that, my friends, is the biggest danger for him. A bigger danger than fighting someone like Jura, who happens to appear as if he's stronger than Ishiki based on how far the story is subtly building him up in terms of being over base Boruto, which means that he might be in that Ishiki tier or higher, which, while that is dangerous, it's not Kawaki's only concern, because as with any relationship, when a home of a relationship is built on a lie, it is built on a cracked foundation. It will eventually fall apart before your eyes faster than you can click this video on the left, my newest anime explain video, that goes into extensive depth and detail explaining every single Dragon Slayer, all 22 Dragon Slayers in Fairy Tail, including the ones was introduced in Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest in a super safe, spoiler-free video, or you can click over here on the right for the new Boruto chapter review.